going to fly, and I'm going to tell you how we made $121,500 in one tax deed sale here in California. Everybody like to hear that? Yeah. Okay, great. Let's roll. Less than 2 years ago, we sat in the same seats that you folks are sitting in today, but we got very pumped up. We decided to take action. We did buy materials. It's the cheapest part of your education and learning experience that you will have. So you're investing in yourself, and I'm not here to try to tell you to do something you don't believe in. So take charge of your own life and make it happen. You need to select a state. We later then went to California because that was our home state, and I would recommend that you do your stuff in your own home state because it's close by. Select a county. We started out with our own county in Ventura County. You're in LA County here. Ventura is the next county up, kind of northwest from here. There wasn't any opportunity, so we expanded our perimeter, hit the perimeter counties, didn't find a lot there, and then we started taking overnight trips. 1, 2, 3 days, and then we eventually got into taking week-long trips, 5 to 7 days. So if you really want to go for the big ones like we do, because we're really not interested in the small ones, we passed up a lot of opportunity to make $5,000 and $10,000. We really weren't interested because I work, Stacy works, and we just didn't have the time. So we developed a strategy. We contacted all the counties in California. We stayed away from the online auctions. And what we learned was when we first started, about 14 out of the 58 counties in California had online auctions. And it got to about, maybe half now. So there's quite a few. We like the ones where there's less competition. We also stay away from LA and the large populated areas. You folks might want to do the same. I'm sure you've heard. Go to the small counties. Very important because your money there and your experience there will take you a lot further. We then researched each county to get their property list. Due diligence-wise, we have 2 different sectors that we work on here, 2 tiers, office research and field research. Of course, office is done in our office. Probably 90% of what we do is done in the office and 10% out in the field. So we do a lot of work on computer. Typical office research here very quickly. We read and understand our state statutes. You've heard this before. Read and understood our county rules. We learned how to register and follow all the deadlines and guidelines, paid our deposits when necessary, and we obtained the property list, as I said. And we also created a trip preparation list. I'll tell you about that in a second. We purchased maps for the state, county, city, population, zoning, topography, assessors. The reason we did this is we got away from more of the improved properties and got into land. Because in California, it's not quite as easy as it is in other states to find a lot of improved property. Where we were out looking, about 9 out of 10 were land or parcels of land. And frankly, I didn't know anything about land, so I had to learn it. But anyway, we got the maps, and we created a list of properties that based on their location. We also went to the assessor's office and got all of their information. We established preliminary values based on the assessor values and market values. All this is being done back in our office. We determined our initial maximum bids. I'm sure you've heard of this. We set a percentage not to exceed. So we knew going into any auction that we had the minimum bids, what they were. So we would calculate how much money we would need to take to those auctions based on if you had 5 properties at $10,000, your maximum bids were $10,000, then you take $50,000. So that's how we did it. And try not to go over. It's important. The next slide is this is what we found on the website. This is the county of Mendocino here. It's about an hour and a half northwest of San Francisco. This tells you about when the auction was going to be. Here it just says it's in May. It doesn't tell you anything more than that. So you have to watch for these about 30 days out. Most of the auctions, you can get the property list. So that's what you want to look for. And speaking of the rules, here are the rules. Mendocino County, it's 3 pages of rules. You can't read this, but I want to show you 05s compared to 06 because this is very important. At the bottom of this list, or the page, it talks about a credit election. So if your bid is over $5,000 or 10%, you can pay the higher. And so in our case, you'll see here, we put down more than 10%, but we could have. And then you can borrow the other 90% for 90 days. We didn't know this until we started reading this material. Mendocino auction rules. Here you'll see right in the middle of the page, no credit. They quit extending credit. So you have got to read these rules each and every year, even if you go back to the same county. Has everybody got that?
You'd be amazed at how many times we've seen people go up after they've won a purchase, not reading the rules, and come to find out they weren't able to complete the transaction. Happens all the time. We saw it numerous times.
That's right. Let's go to the Mindo property list, show you what that looks like. We were interested. There were 14 properties here, and you can say, wait a minute, you guys traveled 10 hours to go see 14 properties that could redeem? Yeah, we did. And a lot of these were not good properties once we got out in the field. The first one here we bid on, this is a former motel site, and you can see that it's, I believe, $61,800 to start with. All the others were real small lots. We bid on this, we lost, and I'll show you a picture in a second here what it looks like. But we lost it to an adjacent property owner that had a health food store, and they had to have parking. It got bid up to about $230,000. We dropped out. Next, it was worth about $300,000 to $325,000. A lot of equity in that property. Next page, at the bottom here, you'll see that this sale lot number 33, all the others are redeemed, of course. So this is sale lot number 33 of the sale. Gives you the assessor's parcel, Carolyn Elizabeth Allen. $7,300 was the minimum bid. That's all it was. 5 acres of land. Here's a parcel map of the property. The next is a tax deed list of prep things that we took. I know you can't see it, but it's office supplies, office equipment, and the sale items that we needed out at the sale. As you do these, keep track of everything you're doing like we did for future sales, because then you'll be able to reload everything up and can just take right off without having to screw around with everything. The field research, of course, is what we did out in the field, and basically what we're doing there is we're touring the properties, we're taking pictures, we're interviewing brokers for their input of market value. Why? To substantiate the value that we found out from the computers. So we got their sold comps, and we also said, hey, we're here, you possibly might represent us. If we get a property, we're going to hire you, could hire you to represent us, and that's exactly what we did. The other important thing is make sure you get to the city and county departments. You got to see the health, particularly in land like this. You got to see the health, you got to see the zoning people, and you got to see the building people, because we don't buy any property we cannot build on. Next, there's a picture of Stacy. We'll sail here on our trip. There's me. This is some of the land that we were looking at. Rolling Hills, beautiful, very nice. Also, lots of wildlife, you can see. Tall redwoods. We got into the redwood country. And rolling forests, of course. And here's the former motel site. This is the back end of another active motel that's right beside it. But so most of this lot was paved. This is in Ukiah. This is a county seat for Mendocino County. And where the grass was is where the old building used to
Kim,
stand.
hold your thought just for a second. Just hold your thought. Did this guy do his homework?
Yes.
Are you guys going to have to do your homework?
Yes.
Okay, this is a complete review. Unknown to me, this is a complete review of what you just learned in the last couple of days. He was in a class just like you're in a class. What did he do with it? He applied it. Look at the records he's kept. He's teaching you guys what it took us 3 days, and you're getting it all in 15 minutes. Let's give him give him a hand here. Huh?
Thank you. This is 2 miles away from the subject property. Looks like Big Sur. Next is a subject property. It's off on the right, gravel road there. You see heavily wooded site, very private, very dense. There were some open areas on the site. We found an old shed and an old burnout mobile home. We later learned it had 2 wells and a septic system. This is perfect for building a home on. We could not subdivide it. It was a minimum of 20 acres, but you could put a second home on it. So you could build your main home up front and do a rental in the back, and that's what a lot of people in this area did. Also other open areas there, stand of redwood trees, moving quickly, auction day. We went an hour early to size up the other bidders and to get good seating. We registered for the sale, and we finalized our auction strategies. We bid on the motel and lost, but we bid on the 5 acres, and there were like 5 other bidders bidding with us, and we got up to about $185,000, and there were only two left, and we got over 200. Got to about 215, and we were bidding in increments of $5,000 very quickly. Whenever somebody else would hesitate and wait, we would come right back immediately with $5,000 increments. So the last 2 guys, he was at 15, we did 220. He did 225, we did 230. He hesitated, and then he said 232. And when he said that, we knew we had him. And folks, my heart was ready to bounce out of my chest because I knew we had about $100,000 to $200,000.
Actually, what he said was, go sell it to the auctioneer. And we knew he had it right then. We were very nervous at the time.
Yeah, we were extremely nervous. And so we knew we had it. Next is the purchase agreement with the county. So you can see here, it's hard to read, but we had to put down $100,000. We borrowed the rest for 90 days. So we bought it for $235,000. And you'll see there at the bottom, and on the next 2 slides, I did this in my traditional IRA. You've heard some about this while you've been here. It's very important. Next is the receipt that we got, and then this is the tax deed. This is what it looks like. We got this in about 30 to 45 days. Front and back of that shows you the legal description here. The deed got recorded. It was handled all by the county. Usually takes about 30 to 45 days in California. Now, on to the traditional IRA. My IRA purchased this. We got the checks from the IRA. We purchased it. My IRA sold the property. My IRA fixed up the property. And of course, it owned it during the interim. But all net proceeds went right back into my IRA. Exit strategy. We had the property. We listed it with a local broker. It took us 16 and a half months. We overpriced it. Oh, well. Here's our friendly broker. His listing. I want to get on to, keep going here, Stace. This tax assessor came, charged us more taxes because the property went way up. And then let me get you to the closing statement here. The most important part, this is an estimated settlement statement for, we sold the property for $399,000. And then next is our check from First American, and it's made out to Equity Trust Company, my IRA. We paid off our closing costs before we got this check, so it was $367,000. Next page, and this is the most important, you'll see that this is how it worked out. $235,000, cost of sale $31, total of $277 in the sale, netted out of $399. It gave us a net profit of $121,532 against the $277. This, over 16 and a half in a month period, this is a 43.8% return on investment, and then annualized, it's almost 32%. So it's a heck of a deal. I just want to hit one last thing here, ending, and this is a brief little poem that my daughter gave to me, and I want everybody to really think about this. There's only one fear, it's called. There's only one failure we need to fear, to be untrue to our best, to fail to exert all the strength that is ours, and give it the utmost test. Only one fear we need to dread, that we content to be less than our best to be satisfied with our own mediocrity. So with that, I'll end. Thanks, Ted.